let's start with the breakdown of Legend of the Sea Devils, because I want to go more in depth on this, because, like, obviously, when I did Legend of the Sea Devils before, along with the Centenary, it was very quick after the episode, so I want to go more into detail with some of the stuff that happens in this. So right off the bat, something I want to make note of in this episode, before that, I'm gonna make sure we're muted so that the BBC can't copy strike it. We get a shot that says 1807, and immediately that's not a great start, because it's that Chibnall trope of, okay, let's put the date on screen and the location on screen. Obviously, you know, I'm not saying it's a huge deal, but it was just a tip off for me very early on in the episode. You know what, I'm going to turn off the music while I'm doing the breakdown. I think that would actually be easier. There we are. Yeah, so the sort of, like, the tip off for me that, oh yeah, this is definitely still a Chibnall episode was the immediate showing of the date, which again is fine, but it's just a Chibnall trope that you'll observe. I don't know what the colour grading of this episode is. Like, they make it very dark, and I don't know why. Like, if you look at some of the filming images that were released a while back, like, the beach shots were really, like, quite vibrant and sunny, you know, which is a rarity for Wales, so why they've decided to cover that up with greyness, I'm not sure. We cut to this village of people who are protecting the Sea Devil statue. And we get introduced to Madam Ching. Now, Madam Ching, I was talking to JXE the other day about Madam Ching. Like, she was completely wasted by... Oop, that's the wrong tab. She was completely wasted by this episode. There was no use of her beyond just, I'm a pirate queen! Anyway, and it's a shame because Madam Ching herself, as Jay was telling me, very, very interesting figure in history. She started out as, I don't even know whether I can say this word on YouTube, she started out, let's say, as a certain type of worker that was involved in intimate acts, if you can get what I'm getting at there without me actually having to say it, because I don't want this stream getting taken down. She then married a pirate king, and then raised his ship numbers from about, like, a few hundred to, like, almost 2,000 ships. She introduced taxes into the pirate world and made, like, a whole pirate society. Very, very interesting historical figure. From what I understand, they basically just went, yeah, she's a pirate lady. So, I don't know why they felt the need to waste her in the way they did. I think the actress does a decent job, but like I say, they do, they waste the potential of this character to an extreme degree. Like, as Jay described on Twitter, it would be like getting Vincent van Gogh and just saying, oh, he was good at painting, and that's it. Like, it's kind of on a similar level to that, which is a real shame. You know, I kind of wanted more of exploration of her character. Plus, in one image, you can see a hole in the neck of a sea devil. Can you really? That's interesting. I'm the grandson of a famous artist. Yeah, the font is nicer at least. That's true. It is a bit less garish, the 1802 font. But yeah, so Madam Ching arrives in this village, and we get introduced to young Pirate McGee #1, along with his soon-to-be departed father. The reason I say soon-to-be departed is because, well, he's dead. Well, obviously. And yeah, we get some brief exposition here about, oh, protect the statue, you know, when I'm dead. Because I think, okay, so this is something that did confuse me initially. I think the way they got rid of the Sea Devil is they zapped it with the keystone thing, and that made it into a statue, right? So it made it into this. I think that's right. Honestly can't tell. And the whole idea is they protect the statue now to prevent the Sea Devils from being unleashed. And then obviously Madam Ching breaks it in an attempt to get the keystone, which she wants to find the... Oh, no. Or is it like a map to the treasure? You know what? Let me just double check that. I think it is, yeah, no. It's a map to, I think, the treasure, the Fleur de la Mar. But in the process, she awakens the Sea Devil, I think. I think that's right? Can someone in chat, if I'm wrong, correct me? Because I'm not sure. Hang on. Yeah, if someone in chat can correct me if I'm incorrect, then go for it, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. She cuts out this piece of stone that's a map to the treasure, I think, and also, right, so yeah, that happens, and then the dad basically goes, stop doing that, or I'm gonna have to, like, kill you, and then she's like, no, I'll kill you, and then, so the sea devil gets unleashed from its little stone prison thing. This kills Mr. Dad McGee in the process. He dies. He doesn't die. Why? I don't know why it keeps going so dark immediately after I've gotten a part of the image. And then we get where's the shot of the sea devil? The annoying thing about iPlayer, right? You can't go pixel by pixel. It's very annoying. They just sort of yeah. So the sea devil breaks out of the stone statue, which is what I'm assuming is happening here. And then, as I said, Dad McGee dies. The sea devil kills him. Title sequence. Apparently, I don't know whether this is accurate, but the title sequence here is actually the Series 11 based one, rather than the Series 12 and Flux one, which is a bit brighter. So that's an interesting point of note. Yeah, this episode somewhat is just kind of cobbled together in some aspects as well. Interesting to note that, let's see if I can get it at the end. No, go back, go forward, go back. Okay, no, it's not gonna make me show it again. There we are. Okay, so here, if you notice, it says Ella Road and Chris Chibnall, implying that, like, Ella Road did the lion's share of the work on this episode, because traditionally, if Chibnall's, like, co-written an episode, it's normally his name that goes first, and then whoever the co-writer is, right? But the fact that Ella Road was listed here first makes me believe that the majority of the episode was written by the Ella Road, and then obviously Chibnall added in bits. We cut to the fam, new fam. I don't know what we call the Doctor, Yaz and Dan, but they arrive at this very dreary. Again, this is what confuses me about this episode. If you look at the filming images, this looks quite bright and colourful. So I don't know why they felt the need to make it look more smoggy and dreary. Like you'd think for a fun pirate episode, you want to go in the other direction and make it look really bright and colourful, but they instead make it look like the dullest beach possible. Pirate ships there's cool though. So yeah, we get the Doctor and crew land. We get Dan in his pirate outfit, which is like a little joke for the rest of the episode. He shows off his hook claw. I do like this TARDIS exterior, always have done. Obviously, the Doctor and Yaz are in more appropriate Chinese garb as well. The thing is, that's an interesting point of note. So they say in this scene, the TARDIS gets dragged off course from where they want it to go, yet they emerge in Chinese appropriate like clothing, with the exception of John Bishop, I guess. So were they always intending to go to somewhere like in China? Because they say they were off course, but then they emerge correctly dressed, unless, you know, the Doctor could like scan where they were, where they landed. But no, actually that's not true. Sorry, there's an ice cream van. That's not true, because once they do land, the Doctor scans being like, oh, we're way off course. Hang on, let me find it. Yeah, you can sort of see here, she's scanning to see where they are, and they're way off course, yet they're still dressed for the environment, which is very odd. Because that implies that that's the first time they've realised where they are. So why are they dressed appropriately? Other than John Bishop, as I said, but the reason he's not dressed appropriately is for the comedic effect. And then this scene confused me on broadcast. So I think what happens here is 13's earring thing gets pulled by the magnetic field, because obviously it's metal. Which apparently somehow is what leads the TARDIS, of course, somehow. And then they skim some stones, and then, you know, it's revealed that they are moving because of the magnetic field. And that's why they like move the other direction. And then I don't know what happens here. Do they hear something? I can't remember, because I can't play it because the BBC will claim this video harder than, you know, anyone. So yeah, I think they head towards the village. We get our shots of sea devils killing people, and then they just abruptly introduce the sea devils are here now. There doesn't feel like there's much build up to the reveal of the sea devils at all. It feels like it's just kind of happens. It's just like, oh, there's a sea devil, cool. Here are the Doctor and crew reacting. Yaz's face in this poor shot is very funny. I do like the nickname Land Parasite that the Sea Devil gives them. I think that's a somewhat funny name, because obviously Sea Devils aren't technically called Sea Devils. It's just something that a fisherman bloke calls them in the first episode. And then, yeah, that's just how that's done. So it's kind of cool that gets referenced in this episode as an insult. I kind of like that. The ice cream van might persuade you to go to the beach. Maybe. Maybe it's all a deliberate ploy to get more beach people. Maybe. I doubt it, but you know what, maybe. The TARDIS is so strong it can resist the pullback of a black hole, but a magnetic field that slightly pulls the Doctor's earring pulls it off course. Yeah, apparently. That makes no sense to me at all. What? Yeah. Jodie's a wonderful actress, but they didn't seem to trust her to do anything but a sunshiny disposition. The thing is, right, from what I've seen of Jodie, Jodie seems to do better when she's doing darker characters. So it makes it kind of weird that they've made her play a really sort of bubbly character for the majority of her run. You could just turn stuff. Oh, that's a better idea. Why didn't I think of doing that? That would make a lot of sense, wouldn't it? See, good job you lot are here. Otherwise, I would not be very good at this. I'm not with you guys here, to be honest. But you make me look vaguely more competent rather. So yeah, what I was just going to check was they're coming. The demons. What's the geomagnograph disturbance? Oh, okay. So they hear screaming, and they head over towards the village, which is implied to just be just past the beach. We get our shots. I don't know what it is about this episode, man. The Sea Devils just the design is great. I just don't think they look that good in motion, if I'm being completely honest. Stop right there. Yeah, I do like the nickname Land Parasite. See, when they're still, right, when they're not moving, Sea Devils look good. When they try and move, it looks wrong. I can't describe it. It doesn't look right. Who are you? Right, here we go. So this is one of the bits that people immediately picked up on. Where the hell does the net come from that they catch him in? Where does it come from? They've just arrived at this village, from what we've been told, seconds after they land. So where the hell does the net come from? It comes out of nowhere. It's just randomly there. Oh, we'll get to the jumping on the boat ship. Don't you worry. We're going to get to that. Don't you worry. But yeah, where does the net come from? They arrive in this village 2 seconds ago, and somehow there's already a trap conveniently prepared for the Sea Devil to walk into. I'd assume that there was originally a cut scene that explains this. I mean, I'd hope there was, but in the episode we get, it's just kind of there. It makes no sense. So then we get the reveal of the pirate ship. Pirate ship actually looked quite cool. I think it's one of the better parts of the CGI that was done was the pirate boat ship. It did give me sort of Pirates of the Caribbean vibes, which is a good thing. Peter Pan vibes as well, which I liked. I thought that the ship looked nice. Oh, we're gonna get to the Mario jump. Hang on, I want to see the Mario jump. So the Sea Devil's showing off his pirate ship. And then we get this beautiful specimen. Truly, a scene for the ages. I think we can all agree. The Sea Devil Mario jump, which is just incredible. Let's just stop and analyze the scene here. So, what's interesting about this, right, is that we know that the Sea Devils can climb the scaffolding to get up to the boat. But rather than do that, they were like, no, let's have him jump up onto the ship. and do this really, really bizarre Mario-style jump in which, like, if he hadn't have been artificially dragged in, like, post, which is what would happen, like, trajectory-wise, there's no way he's making this jump, right? Like, I know it's a sci-fi thing, but, like, there's no way, like, given how, you know, low his jump is here, there's no way he's making it up there normally, which is why it looks so weird when he jumps, it looks like this. Hang on. Go a bit further forward. So you want to go a bit further forward without completely skipping it. Okay, so then we've got the shot of him landing. And then we got the shot of the reveal. I need the bit in between. Basically, yeah, so that jump looks just really bizarre. And I don't know why they just didn't have him climb to the top of the ship. Like, it would have looked less dramatic, I guess, but it would have also made more sense and not look like that. So I don't know why they. I assume, right, what happened was Chibnall just wrote in the script, Sea Devil, you know, jumps on the ship, you know, to go, and they were like, okay, how do we direct that? How do we translate his words into the script, you know, onto the screen? And they were just like, well, we'll just have him jump all the way from here to here. It looks really odd, and like this was the first part of the episode where I was just like, what the hell? Like, I think I audibly, first time this was broadcast, was like, what the fuck? I was like, what? Huh? It looks so odd. Hang on, I can probably play a little bit. Like, what is that? What is this? What am I looking at? Like, it looks so, it was like full on like Spy Kids level physics. It's like, it's really weird. And then we get the Sea Devil proudly showing off his little motley crew of other Sea Devils. This guy, I want to know this guy's story. This guy who always looks zonked out of his mind whenever like anything is like happening. Like, I want to know his story. I want a Big Finish spin-off with that Sea Devil. I want to know what led to him being there. You know, why does he look like that? I want to understand his story. I want a Big Finish spin-off with him. But no, so we get this sort of shot of the Sea Devil revealing his crew, and then they just sort of bugger off for a bit, and then we get Madam Ching's holding the stone map to the Fleur de la Mar, and then Madam Ching, who's the same person who recruits him, like not 40 minutes later in this episode, you know, is threatening to kill this kid. So, you know, his anger towards Madam Ching in this episode is kind of, you know, rightfully there. Like, not only has she basically caused the death of his father, but also threatened to kill him on multiple occasions. I wonder where that'll go in the end. That's what we call foreshadowing in the industry. That's some foreshadowing right there. Sea Devil weapon, sorry for your loss. Madam, oh yep, here we are. Here's the one reference to Madam Ching. Jodie just goes, Madam Ching, Pirate Queen, and that's all we get. And it's very odd, and I don't know why there wasn't more to this. There just isn't. That's all she says about her. And then we move on, because this episode is incapable of stopping for a second while simultaneously dedicating time to weird things. We get some exposition about what she's looking for, the lost treasure of the Fleur de la Mar, which she is hoping to use in order to pay off another group of pirates who kidnapped her crew. Which, like, that makes sense as a motivation, like, that's fine. Pearls feels way beyond anything feasible for 19th century humans. Well, yeah, because, wait, that's Sea Devils, right? Like, we know, unless, wait, what are they scanning for here? Is it just, oh no, is it the amulet that they're scanning? What are they scanning here? I'm not sure. Can someone, if you can get, like, the episode up, someone tell me what they're scanning here, because I don't want to get it wrong. I want to make sure that if I am analysing this episode, I want to analyse it correctly, but as far as I can tell here, it's just, I don't know, it's just a random thing that they're scanning, even though we know it's not, a human object, because we've just seen, oh, the statue, okay, it's the right, okay, thank you, statue energy, thank you, okay, Imagine a world where this episode was good. I know, right? What a bonkers reality that would be. Shame we don't live in that one. Yeah, so... Oh, hi, Crispy. Spy Kids level physics is the new fave tip. Thank you, Crispy. That's literally what it reminded me of when I saw it. I was like, that's like some Spy Kids 3D level, like, stuff going on there. Like, oh, part of me, like, obviously I don't want to be too mean, because, like, I understand, like, with any piece of media, right, like, it takes effort to make. Like, this would have taken effort to make. But I just want to know, I want, like, a behind-the-scenes documentary of how this episode made it out like this in some areas. Because it is just really weird. So, yeah, so she scans the statue, and then we get the boy talking to Madam Ching for a bit. What do they say? Do they say anything? I mean, the subtitles aren't coming up, so I take it not. Where we get another cool shot of the ship. I think the ship looks really nice. Like, the ship looks nice. I like the ship a lot. I think they could have done, you know, more cool stuff with the ship. Like, I think, you know, it would have been very fun if, like, so you know how the other pirates, I guess they have a ship, right? What if, right, here's just, if you wanted to make this a really fun episode, you know, just random idea, you know, what if, because we know the Doctor, well, I mean, at least in the first episode, remember in Woman Who Fell to Earth, it's kind of established that this Doctor's a bit of a tinkerer, you know, she creates her own Sonic sort of thing. What if, you know, using some Sea Devil technology and some leftover Time Lord technology, they make the other pirate ship fly, you know, the one that they use, the one that Madam Ching uses when they're fighting that weird thing that we don't know what it is. Imagine if, like, the Doctor augmented that with some alien technology, so they have, like, they both fly, and then you could have, like, this flying sword fighty battle thing, very sort of fantasy-esque. I think that would have been quite fun, but we just have the one flying ship. I get there's probably budget, right? But still, you know, I just think, like, something like that would have probably made this feel more fun, and it would also explain why later on in the episode we have a scene in which they have to jump back to the flying ship from a ship that's on the ground, and yet they somehow managed to do it, despite the fact that they'd nowhere near be able to jump that high. So if they had two flying ships, that way you'd fix that plot hole, essentially. So yeah, that's just a little thought I came up with. You know, we don't have to do that, but then we get a shot of the Sea Devil. Does he have a name, the captain, or is he just Sea Devil Captain? They showed me no mercy. And then we get a shot of, oh, I don't know, they just look so dirty. It's funny though, like, I'm not insulting it. Like, this one is, what's this guy's story? I want to know, like, they all look so happy to be there. It's just, it's quite cute actually. The call went out and awoke, and now our time has returned. So, like, their whole plan here is basically, okay, we're gonna restore the Earth to being an aqua ball of sea, you know, before the apes arrived. I'm getting a call from Rotherham Town Centre. I am going to let that go. That's probably one of them calls being like, do you need to pay taxes? And I'm like, no, I don't, because I avoid taxes. That's not true. That's a lie. But essentially, yeah, they say here, like, they want to restore the Earth to being this aqua ball, you know, before the apes arrived, so they can dominate the ocean, the world again, which, you know, makes sense as a motivation for the Sea Devils. Like, it's fine. And then we get a shot of this fisherman. I think that's what it is next, right? Yeah. So this fisherman is fishing, you know, as fishermen often do. That ice cream van has just gone past again. I don't want any ice cream. Anyway, so he's fishing as fishermen often do. And then he's like, oh, there's something under the water. And then this thing, which we don't know what it is. Like, what is this? It looks really cool, but what is it? Like, you know, they never say it's the Merker. It's just a thing. I mean, it looks nice, but why is it here? Anyway, that eats it. It eats the fisherman. And then we get this scene of the younger pirate man being like, I'm gonna kill... Oh, I've gone too far back. Hang on, I've time travelled. It was the Flux's fault. Ah, crap. Okay, so we get this scene between Dan and Thingy being like, oh, I'm gonna get revenge for my, like, dad. Yeah, make sure my father didn't die in vain. So yeah, like, you know, and he's obviously, you know, willing to protect the statue now. So it seems like he wants to kill, or at least, you know, is not going to be friendly with Madam Ching. I wonder how that's going to develop. Like, foreshadowing again. So I'm not going to let her get away. So yeah, we sort of imply here that, you know, he's naturally kind of peeved off that she kind of caused the death of his father. Obviously, you know, the Sea Devil technically killed him, but if the lady hadn't released him, then, you know, his dad would still be alive. But he isn't, so yeah. So then the Doctor and Yaz go back to the TARDIS with the plan of basically, okay, we'll go back in time and see what happened to Thingy's ship, because that's where the treasure is. And then we get what is, I would argue, the weirdest line in this episode, and I want to deconstruct this exchange, right? So for context, for those of you who aren't aware, I suppose the Sea Devils and the Silurians, I guess, for those of you who aren't initiated, their whole sort of gimmick is, you know, they were here before us, you know, on Earth. Like, they existed on Earth before we did. So the whole sort of gimmick is they have about as much of a claim to the planet as we do. So often in Doctor Who stories, you know, the often approach that will be taken is like, you know, the Doctor will seek to try and, you know, have there be peace between humans and Sea Devils / Silurians, depending on which one the story is dealing with. But in this story, upon the Doctor telling us that they have a claim to Earth, despite you know, obviously, like, they have a claim to Earth because they were here before humans, all that Yaz does is respond, hang on, let me get it, that's not good. And that's never challenged, and we move on. And what's really weird about this is that, like, as I said, the Doctor would often, like, preach for diplomacy again with the two races, and you know, encourage the humans and the Sea Devils to coexist. And this isn't even just a Sea Devil exclusive or Silurian exclusive trait. This also happens, obviously, for those of you who aren't aware, in Day of the Doctor, when the Zygons, who are disguised as the humans, and the regular humans are debating, you know, how they're going to coexist on Earth. And that happens in two stories there, the Doctor and the Zygon Two-Power. In this, she just goes, yeah, alright, yeah, that's not good, we need to, like, get rid of them. And she also says earlier on, they regard Earth as their own planet. Which is weird, because they don't regard Earth as their own planet, it is their own planet. Like, objectively, they were there for, like, it is also their planet. So saying they regard Earth as their own planet as if they don't have as much of a claim to it just feels really off for the Doctor's characterization. And I understand, like, I am, you know, going in depth on this, but it's something I noticed with, like, Chibnall era politics, where they'll kind of, I did a whole video essay on it, actually. Hang on, I'm going to link that in chat for those of you who haven't seen it. Talking about how, you know, Chibnall era politics is actually kind of less woke than it traditionally is in Doctor Who. So let me get that up real quick. I'm going to link that in chat for those of you who haven't seen it. But yeah, essentially, this is just another example of where the politics of the Chibnall era feel really off. And not in, like, the way that everyone describes them as. They feel off in the sense of, like, you know, the Doctor wouldn't normally be this, just blasé about the idea of, you know, Sea Devils just being evil. Obviously, I know they do say later on, oh, they imply later on, it's, you know, a rogue batch of Sea Devils, right? It's a rogue batch, you know, they say something like, are you the bad bunch of the species? Or something to the effect of that, right? Which would make sense, but they never, like, confirm that. Like, the Sea Devil never goes, why, yes, we were exiled from our species. And even if they were, to be fair, it would still be weird for the Doctor to not say that they have a claim to the planet. So yeah, that line to me is the weirdest one in the episode, and I think what's weirder about it is that Chibnall literally wrote the Silurian Two-Power for Series 5, so he's capable of writing Sea Devils, and, you know, Silurians, Homo Reptilia, as they're referred to, under the umbrella term in the Doctor Who world. So him doing this feels especially off. Obviously, I know it's Ella Road as well, but, like, you'd think, for someone who's such a diehard classic fan, they'd know, yeah, that the Sea Devils kind of like do have a claim to the planet as well, but that's just kind of glossed over, and they're kind of just treated as any other monster, really, and that's a shame for a villain that hasn't been seen for around about 40 years. So it's weird to me that they've missed such a fundamental element of what makes these villains like what they are. So yeah, that is really odd to me. So they go and pick up the lost treasure. That's where they go. John Bishop swims to Madam Ching's pirate ship along with the younger pirate kid. And then they quickly get captured. There's a joke about John Bishop's age, which is kind of funny. And then she just like manages to capture them both and like swing them upside down. And I would say I know she's like a competent pirate, so like that makes kind of sense. But it is weird that like she managed to take on, you know, and like flip up like. Obviously they just cut to this. I mean, it is comedic effect, so I'm not gonna, you know, critique that too much, but it is like, how did she get them up there? So then, yeah, she's mocking them, calling them stupid stowaways, all the rest of it. She basically is like, if you want to live, you're going to help me on the ship. You're going to help me get this thingy, this treasure, so I can get my crew back. And then we have the Doctor and Yaz land in... Do they say that? I think they do say the time period. Let me get it exactly. Yeah, here we go. 1533. So we get another one of the date reveals. So what I will defend about this, right, is a lot of people were questioning the costume of... I think it's Yi Sun or Yi Kun. I'm really not sure. Like, but a lot of people were questioning his outfit because... You know, that's from the 14th, 15th century, whatever. So they were like, why is that in an episode set in, I think it's like the 18th or 19th century? But like, in the episode they do explain, to be fair, Ji-hun, thank you. So they explain in the episode, yeah, he's from that time period. So it makes sense that he would wear that outfit. Like, it is period appropriate, I think. So I'm cool with that. Like, you know, that's fine to me. So we get them landing on this ship. They throw people overboard, including the like great granddad of the other guy. And then for some reason, in sort of typical Chibnall era fashion, like they decide to just say what's blatantly obviously going on. They say he's throwing them all off. It's like, yeah, we know, we can see it, but for some reason they feel the need to spell that out. And then we get, okay, so I want to know this, right? Like, what is the reasoning behind? Let me get it. What's the reasoning behind like the Sea Devils apparating in mist? Is that a thing they can do? Like historically, you know, teleport? Maybe they can. Admittedly, I've not seen the full Sea Devil John Pertwee appearance properly. Like, I've seen bits of it. So maybe someone can tell me in chat if, like, that's something they can do, is teleport. But I've never seen them do that. So, and it looks, like, very, very, very advanced for, like, an Earth-faring species. Steam is wet. No, they can't. Okay. So that is something that's newly introduced in this episode, then, that they can sort of just do. It's just to show off the sea. Yeah, I guess. It is still weird, though, that that's just a thing they can do now. It's just apparate anywhere. I feel that underwater, like, before the Flood two-part format would have worked better for the flashbacks to flesh out the Sea Devils more. Yeah, honestly, I don't know what would have made the pacing better. Maybe just add 20 minutes to the plot, I don't know. When Yaz bends down to look at the seabed, the background of the top... Does it? Okay, we're going to get to that. Don't you worry, William Bryce. We're going to get to that. So... If we carry on, so as I said, the Sea Devils just sort of apparate for some reason. They don't explain why. They just do. They do that now. The Sea Devil is in league with Ji-hun, this guy. So apparently he made a deal to protect the crew, I think, in order to... What do they want him for again? Do they want the ship? Yeah, no, it's the ship they want, right? So they betray Ji-hun, and then the Doctor and Yaz head back to the TARDIS, and they go into the future where the ship was and try and see, what happened to the treasure. And then we get some reused shots from, I believe this is Arachnids in the UK, just slightly different color grading here. So yeah, interesting that's been reused. I mean, I don't take an issue with that particularly, but it is interesting to note. And then we get what is probably the best scene in the episode, in my opinion, the underwater sea scene. Just taking a drink. The underwater sea scene where where the Doctor and Yaz discuss their feelings, and we also get introduced to Chompy McGee. Let me get it. So yeah, this shot is genuinely really nice. Like, if more of the episode was like this, I think, a lot more people would have come out of it being like, yeah, this is a good episode. Not even just visually, but like, this is the one decent character-like moment between these two characters. I mean, maybe the beach scene as well, but I think for me this is like the best scene in the episode. Mainly because it feels like it's been given time to breathe. The one thing I will say, though, about this is the Doctor says, "Not a bad date, am I?" Which just feels like a really forced way to incorporate the whole Thasmin scene. Like, I don't know whether anyone would say that knowing that someone has feelings for them and, like, not wanting to confront it. Because the whole thing with Jodie is that she's kind of avoiding this topic, right? So her just dropping this line into conversation feels, like, very out of left field and wrong, and then Yaz is like, yes, you do, and then that's the perfect pause frame. And then the Doctor goes, oh no, I can't, she looks at Yaz like, oops, sorry, like that, and then something's missing, and then they're like, no ship, Sherlock, which is, a decent pun. The water disappears. So wait, where does the TARDIS background wobble? Do we have an exact? I'm just looking at the TARDIS background to see where it wobbles. But I'm not doubting you. I'm just curious as to where it wobbles. But yeah, so the seabed gets like the fish thing comes up from the seabed. The TARDIS is left floating, which I saw some people take issue with, but like, I think the TARDIS has always been like established to be able to like hold itself, even when like the thing it's landed on is like gone, so that's fine. I don't take much issue with that. But yeah, the sea man comes up from the ocean. They slam the door shut, and so what happens here? Like, so here's my question: how did the Sea Devils get the fish under their control? And what is the fish actually? Does it just transport the TARDIS to the base, or is the fish actually the base? Like, I'm not sure on that. Can someone tell me, is the fish the base, or does the fish just transport the TARDIS and obviously the Doctor and Yaz to the base? Can someone explain that to me? Because I'm confused by that, and I need someone to explain it to me. I think it dragged the TARDIS to the base. So they dragged the TARDIS to the base. The fish's base. Oh, for God's sake. So you're saying they dragged the fish to the base. It's a killer Merca. They are bigger than the Merca. They don't say it's that, though, do they, in the episode? It's just fans thinking that that's what it is. There's a river reference, right? There is a river reference later on. Now you have me thinking of Pinocchio. Yeah, that's what I mean. Is it a Pinocchio scenario, or does the fish just drag it? Like, I'm confused by that. It dragged the TARDIS to the base, okay. Then left to appear on River Monsters on ITV4. Very good. So the implication is they get dragged over to some base that's in some location somewhere. They don't say where. It's just their base that exists. Like, this is the thing as well. Because so much seems to be cut out of this episode, you struggle to get a sense of like the geography of this setting and like where everyone is at any given time. So yeah, the TARDIS gets gobbled up by How to Train Your Dragon 4. They're on the pirate lady Madam Ching's ship, and then the stars start getting pulled around, I think, due to the magnetic pulse being affected because the sea devils want to, you know, make the earth filled with water. I think that's what's happening here. Which, you know, fine. Although I think it was Votes actually said that stars don't actually move like that. It would look more like a bowl and like sort of like it would look more rounded than them just like fluttering about. But yeah, anyway, they get attacked by. So they imply that obviously we get exposition about her fleet. They imply that oh yeah, Hao Shen. They call it Hao Shen. What's Hao Shen? I'm gonna Google that. I'm gonna give it a Google. Hang on, we're gonna Google this. I want to know what Hao Shen is. Hao Shen. Oh wow, Dr. YouTube. What is Hao Shen? Wow, okay, this doesn't really tell me what it is. Hao Shen monster. Hao Shen monster. So a Shen is a clam monster. Hang on. In Chinese mythology, the Shen or Chen is a shape-shifting dragon or shellfish type sea monster believed to create mirages. Okay. Aquatic dragon. Okay, we never see this one create a mirage. Aquatic dragon. So I'm guessing it's one of these. I'm guessing is what they're implying it is. Or at least that's what the people in the episode believe it to be. We'll see what the Sea Devils name it later on, but I think that's what they're implying it is. So it's from Chinese mythology. I don't think there's any reference to it being like America though. So the fish boy attacks the ship. They fire cannons at it. It spits them back out, which I do kind of like, but the only thing is with it, right? So it spits them back out, and then they explode. And that's not how bombs work. That's not how cannons work, rather. They're just metal balls. They don't have explosive properties in them. So where does the explosion come from? Like I said, these episodes are just full of like little like logical inconsistencies that make it really hard to follow. So yeah, that's just a weird little thing. Like the cannon shouldn't actually explode like that. If you've ever like played like if you play like Assassin's Creed Black Flag, if you ever play that, when you fire cannons at other ships, like it just damages like the wood of the ships, like it doesn't explode them. Like so the Doctor and Yaz get themselves out of the TARDIS. They confront Sea Boy. I will say some of like Jodie's lines in this episode were quite good for like her Doctor, like, oh, I'm only like a kid sometimes. I do quite like, I think this is like one of, in terms of the characterization, I think it's one of the better Jodie stories, but then again, like there is still that weird bit with the Sea Devils, but you know. And I guess also the bit like it's ripped from the Timeless Children, which we'll get to. So they're looking for the lost ship. Yaz gives a bit too much away. They're regulating the water that makes it airtight, I think, on their like little B-Tech TARDIS consoles. You talk to secure yourself time to think. Pretty accurate. You're not the same as the other land crawlers. Yeah. There's not much going on in this scene other than exposition. Honestly, the next few sort of scenes are just kind of like exposition about the plot, which we've already sort of gone over. So they take the ship. And they say that they basically use it to scare off like what they call the land crawlers, the humans, because obviously at the time pirate ships, you know, big scary, especially if they like fly. People would be like, what the fuck? So yeah, that makes sense, I guess. Do you want to attempt to see the fate of those who resist my will? So they basically give them the guided tour, and then the Yaz goes, what are we going to do to stop the Sea Devils? And the Doctor's like, I'll figure something out. So that happens. They meet up with Ji-hun, who's like, I'm frozen by the Sea Devils, and then he gets woken up. He says that he did what he did to try and rescue his crew. My ship was okay. Okay, so more exposition about the treasure. So, oh yeah, the Doctor's bluff gets called out. It's revealed that she doesn't have the keystone. Brace. And then that whirlwind thing begins. The process to waterify the world begins, I think. Then Pirates McGee, they manage to escape. So this is what I mean, right? Look at the geography of this scene. This is very important for later. So this ship's up here, and there's one ship down here. How do we think that they're going to jump back up? Also, we get a reference to the 11th Doctor with Geronimo, which I kind of liked, but it was weird that they repeated it twice. So they managed to escape from... Oh, no. Sorry, it's not that they activate their plan to waterify the world. Basically, the Doctor presses a button that lifts their ship out of their base. And, like, they meet up with the rest of the crew. Sorry, I was incorrect. We get the guy asking, is that your ship? They go, no, but we've brought a mate. It's Ji-hun from the past. Here's another interesting thing about this episode, right? Like, why is there not, like, any discussion between these two about, like, the differences of piracy in their two eras or anything? They just, like, they barely speak throughout the episode. Like, I feel like if we met up with someone from our past, we'd have a lot of more questions, but, like, Madam Ching's just like, yeah, alright, this guy's here, I guess. Like, so just as Ji-hun explains it can glow unexpectedly, it just so happens to glow unexpectedly. That's nice. So then the Sea Devil captures the guy, has the necklace glow. They take it, I think. I was tricked, you were defeated. The legend told of a keystone that could be used to entomb aggressors. So yeah, it's established that they entombed the Sea Devil with the keystone. No, one of the gems so valuable, so they take it. We don't stand a chance. They put their amulet in the lava lamp of doom. You want to create chaos, shift the current. To be fair, like, it's not chaos, they just want to be able to repopulate, right? Like, that's the vibe. Beeping. Okay, so then, a bit more exposition, and... Wait, hang on. No, we haven't seen the scene yet. But you know what scene I'm on about. Hang on. Let me go back. Oh well, forget it. Oh, there we go. So we see Sea Devils climbing up, and somehow the Doctor and crew make it back up. I still don't understand how. Also, as I said earlier, why didn't they just do this in the scene where the Sea Devil jumps? Like, why does it have to jump? I don't know. It's coming after me, be ready. And then we have the sword fight, which is, you know, it's fine. Again, it's very dim, so it kind of makes it look a little less interesting. Nice pull shot there. That poor Sea Devil, man. I'm also a bit, like, you know, disappointed as to how easy, like, Sea Devils can get, like, defeated in this story. Like, you know, for, like, the grand return of a villain, then I'll half make them a bit, like, easy to defeat. But, yeah, so... we get some sword fighting with all different characters, which is kind of cool. Then we get to this. So, for context here, for those of you, obviously, who can't hear this, which will be the majority of you, in fact, all of you, because BBC copyright, Ji-hun stabs Sea Devil Man, and the Doctor's like, no, don't kill him, he didn't need to be killed, and the guy was like, he got rid of my crew, whatever. And then, so, a scene later, not a scene later. Oh, hang on, I'm gonna go back to this in a moment, but literally, like, minutes later, let me find it. Where is it? Is it when they split up? Here it is, yeah. Not even like a scene later. They just, the Dan just like mows down 7 of them. So, and he stood right next to the guy that was lambasted for taking out 1. And it's like, what? Hang on, let me go back a little bit. And it comes back to that thing I mentioned earlier of just, you know, the moral inconsistencies of this era are just so weird. Like, for some reason it's okay for Dan to kill 7 of them, but when Ji-hun does it once, the Doctor's like, no! Why did you do that? It's like, what? And I know, to be fair, you could say, well, the Doctor wasn't here for this, but even still, it still just does ring weird that, like, after being told don't kill things, a scene later, one of the protagonists kills the thing. In fact, 7 things, not just 1. And like I said before, it makes the Sea Devils look kind of weak. And then we get Yaz being like, oh, Dan's like, oh Yaz, why don't you just tell the Doctor, like, we all know you want to. And then that happens. I apologise for any Scousers in the chat, apologies for that. What would she say to me? So that they basically, you know, reveal that Dan revealed Yaz's feelings to the Doctor. And then the ship gets like reversed back onto like the shore, I think, again. Oh no, it gets put back in the ship. Wait, which way does it go? Hang on. Does it go back up to the ship, or does it go down? Someone explain that to me. Does it go? Do they restore it back up, or do they restore it back down? I can't tell, because this ship's gone like up and down like 3 times in this story already. So I'm trying to figure out like where did it go? Yeah, someone explain to me that. I remembered your video on moral inconsistencies when watching this episode. I think you missed the river. Yes, I did miss the river reference, but we all know she basically mentions her wife. So yeah, I might come back to that. Another reason they should have played it as the Flying Dutchman. Yeah, that would have been such a fun thing, but they don't do that, which is a shame. They explode because they hit each other. Wait, are you talking about the cannons? But they don't have any. They don't have any explosive properties inside them, so there's no reason for them to explode. Yeah, I can get the river reference back up, but yeah, I think basically things get reversed. Let me just go back to the river scene. In fact, I think that's later on, isn't it? It's not later on. That's about here. I just need to get this out. I think you're one of the best people I've ever known. Why is she one of the best people she's ever known? Like, what? This is my question to like, you know, especially fans of this era. What's Yaz done that's particularly extraordinary that other companions haven't done? Like, genuine question. I want to understand. Yeah, so there's the river reference, including my wife. Which Yaz is like, what the fuck? I don't think that means River's going to be back in the next episode, though. Some point time always runs out. Like, here's the thing. This development feels somewhat natural. Like, you know, the Doctor being like, oops, sorry, I'm going to go too far forward. You know, like, the Doctor's always kind of been like, oh, you wither and you die, that's why I can't, you know, be in love with you. But to be fair, what's the active difference between, like, being in love with someone and being, like, their best friend? Like, it still puts them in danger, I guess. I don't really know what the difference is between those two things. I mean, I guess it's like, you know, the Doctor fears if that they die, that they're like, it's going to break their hearts, I guess. So that makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. This whole arc just feels like nothing to me. Like, I stand by, like, the whole Thasmin thing, to me, is predominantly invented in the minds of people who love it, right? And that's why people are so vocally defensive of it, because people have become attached to this idea, and romantically attached to this idea of the Doctor and Yaz being a thing. But, like, if you go back and watch the show, it's really not that well established. The farthest back you can say maybe there's a hint towards it is Haunting. And that's one line where Yaz goes, oh, my person's a bit different, and that's it. And, like, I know people will say, oh, well, in Arachnids in the UK, they say, oh, her mum goes, oh, are you two seeing each other? But that's obviously a joke. Like, a director for Series 11 even came out and said, like, you know, the original plan was for Ryan and Yaz to be a thing. And Matt Stevens and Chris Chibnall had come out and literally said this wasn't planned. So it wasn't planned, right? Like, and it just feels so artificial to me, and rushed, and doesn't make any sense. Like, I kind of get it, like, post-Flux, but even then it's like, I don't know, it all just feels very hollow to me. It just rings quite hollow. Like, when the Doctor says, you know, there's not anyone I'd rather spend this time with, it'd be you, I don't buy it, you know, it feels hollow. But yeah, that's Thasmin for you. Arg. I'm just going to screenshot that because that's funny. So, I don't know why I find it so funny when they say Arg. But there we go. So then, Ji-hun fulfills his one purpose of getting out the Doctor out of a situation, right? You know, by sacrificing himself, basically just the same as Entitled Children. The Doctor, champion of life and guardian of all, basically goes, yeah, you can die for me, fine. And like, I know people are going to say, oh, well, the Doctor has done morally questionable things before, you see. And I'm like, yes, they have, but more often than not, when they do happen, like, Chibnall era, they're questioned within the plot, right? So a good example would be the Rachnos in Runaway Bride, right? Like, so the Doctor is basically drowning these Rachnos children, and Donna's like, look, Doctor, you can stop now. I think you need someone to stop you. So in that instance, it's treated as something that's kind of morally questionable. Whereas here, it's just like, yep, this is fine. Yep, I'm just going to let people die for me. And to be fair, I know what some other people are going to say as well. They're going to say, oh, well, they need Ji-hun to die to restore the timeline. They don't say that him being alive really causes that big of a ripple to, like, time. So, if they'd have said, like, oh, I have to die to restore the timeline, I guess it would be more justified. But, like, as is, it's just the Doctor letting someone else do the hero work. How I would rewrite this, right? Because it's literally Jodie's final episode, I put this on Twitter, right? How I would rewrite this, let me get it up. By the way, if you haven't already, go follow me on Twitter. I would appreciate it. It's right here. How I would rewrite this. Yeah, how I would rewrite this, here it is. I said, what's funny about this is that it's literally her penultimate episode. You could have written it so she has a heroic sacrifice moment that triggers her regeneration, that she tries to hold off throughout the centenary, which would also give the Thasmin scenes more weight. What I mean by that is, at the end of this episode, they have a whole scene being like, oh, I wish this could go on forever. And that would feel extra tragic if the Doctor was, like, holding off her regeneration, because she would know it's not going to last much longer. So it would feel even more romantically like, oh shit, this is the end. But no, they just let Ji-hun die, and it's like, alright. Like, I just think, considering it's the penultimate episode, like, something like that would have made more sense. And I know people, you know, the idea of an elongated regeneration doesn't sit greatly with some people, but I still think it would be a better resolution than what we get. So yeah. By the way, if you are enjoying the stream, be sure to like it. That would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. But yeah, like, he just sacrifices himself, and it's framed almost exactly in the same way as the Timeless Children is, and it's just like, alright, cool, you're dead then. So then Ji-hun sacrifices himself, world gets restored, Sea Devils go bye-bye, they head back to Madam Ching's ship. She gets her gold to rescue her crew, and then the boy just goes with Madam Ching? It's like, you literally wanted to kill her like half an hour ago, and now you're hugging her. This is another thing I'll say, like, this kid was way too happy considering his dad died, like, 10 minutes before the events of the episode. Like, what? Why? How? What? And now he wants to travel with the person that was, like, basically responsible for his dad's death. And, like, the thing is, I could see that happening if it had been, like, you know, established that he'd, like, slowly forgiven it. I know that there's the one scene where he saves his life, but that doesn't feel like enough to me, where you go from hating someone's guts to being like, yeah, you know what, I absolutely want to be with you forever, new mum. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, you know that bit in Spider-Man 2 when the Spider-Man saves Harry Osborn when the Doc Ock experiment is going wrong, and Harry Osborn's like, this doesn't change anything, and he's like, I have nothing left except Spider-Man. Like, in that instance, despite his life being saved, he still isn't fully recovered from, like, you know, their parent being killed by, you know, the person they presume to have done it. Whereas in this is like, yep, sounds good to me, and they just go off together, and it makes no sense. It feels so weird. And unearned. So they say they're looking forward to a new adventure, they promise a beach. Oh, okay, so this was the bit that caused a bit of controversy for me on the old twitter.com. Because I was confused as to how Dan rings Diane in 1802. And apparently, in Flux, the Doctor does something to his phone, which is fine. And I know people were like, well, it should be assumed that the Doctor could always do that, because in End of the World they do it. So yeah, okay, but like, new audiences haven't seen that. But if it was shown in Flux, fair enough, I guess. But I was a bit, like, confused by that initially on broadcast. Also, the whole thing of Diane calling Dan back, it feels very forced. And what I mean by that is, it feels like, you know, obviously Chibnall knows that the next episode's the last one. They need a reason for Dan to want to stay on Earth after the centenary. So he goes, right, how do I get Dan back to Earth? I know, I'll have Diane randomly call him at the end of the episode. That'll get him to want to be back on Earth. So that's what they decide to do. They get him back on Earth. And it feels just incredibly forced. Like, I can feel the hand of the writer in this scene, rather than, you know, it feeling like an organic discussion between two characters. Like, there was no hint in The Vanquishers that Diane was ready to move on, you know, that Diane was, like, wanting to be with Dan again. And then 2 episodes later, she's like, yeah, I'm actually really missing you, Dan. Do you want to do a bit of the old rumpy-pumpy? It's like, where did this come from? But yeah, it just feels very, very forced, and like, you know, Chibnall just needed a reason for Dan to come back to Earth. Kind of like, you know, Diane originally was just the reason why Dan went with them in the first place. It's just, Diane's essentially just a, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? She basically just exists to further Dan's plot, which is a bit weird. And then the Doctor goes, oh, can we stay as we are, please? I don't want to kiss you. And Yaz goes, oh, well, actually, my nan says, you know, I think we should take risks, whatever. And the Doctor's like, I don't give a fuck. And then they skim a stone. Jodie wishes that, like, their time could last forever, which we know it won't, because there's 1 episode left. And then they look on the sea, and the credits roll. And yeah, this episode is just so nothing. Like, it's just so uneventful. Like, barely anything happens. Barely anything is achieved. I've gone through it all pretty much scene by scene now. And it only took me about an hour. Like, normally it would take me longer, but there was just nothing going on in this. Shout out to Debs Iona, Shane Smith, Ree Keffin, Seb Lowndes, Jay Monroe, Hash Shandycoot, Patrick Mewson, Simon Ashley, Steve Safaro, Andrew Townsend, Alex Robbins, Michael Dykes, Paul Bryden, Sam Yates, and Michael Rhodes. If you want to become a member, feel free to do so. It really helps out. You get exclusive posts, shout outs in every video, and even your own badge and custom emojis to use.